Welcome to RedEye, and today we're happy to present an interview with Anders Rylander, CEO Biovica. And Biovica has just secured an FDA approval, and this is an opportunity to expand a bit on their go-to-market strategy 23 and 24. Welcome, Anders Rylander.
Thank you, Johan.
And congratulations, you secured the FDA label. And what do you think about the label, and how does it fit in with the market potential for DiviTum?
Thank you, Johan. Yeah, that's a great milestone, probably one of the bigger for Biovica. So we're very grateful for that. And yeah, you asked about the label. We've talked about our market potential, and the market that we are addressing, prioritizing is the metastatic breast cancer, or monitoring of patients with hormone-positive metastatic breast cancer. And the label is covering exactly that. So we're very grateful and glad that we didn't get any restrictions. So we had the same view on things as the FDA. Market potential, yeah, so hence the market potential that we have communicated previously remains. This is covering that market. And to repeat that, in the US, that's about $300 million US dollars per year, which is about 50% of the total market potential for the metastatic breast cancer area. So the US market is, of course, the most important market for us. So that's why this is such a big milestone, because this allows us to sell and market the product on the US market.
Excellent. So is this a public or private pay? And presumably you need both codes and cover to have access to the full market.
Yes. So the way the market is divided, you could say, for these patients, hormone-positive metastatic breast cancer patients that are being treated for the treatments that we are looking to complement, they are covered to a great deal, 50%, by the public system, where Medicare is the biggest one. And then the other 50% is privately insured, where we split it into two areas. The ones that we call direct bill, where we will establish contracts directly, and also the remaining private insurance. So hence the Medicare, the public is important, or both are important, but the 50% in one covered by one party, of course, we will prioritize that, getting inclusion into that part of the reimbursement system.
And the timing for the codes and the cover, what can we expect?
Well, we will do several steps, and we'll do it in parallel. So first of all, like you say, best practice for diagnostics companies entering the market is that you start with a miscellaneous code and you submit claim by claim, and you provide medical necessity, like a proof of the value of the product. And here's where our clinical data will be very useful, because we have a great foundation when it comes to clinical data with our assay within metastatic breast cancer. So we'll do that, and in parallel we'll work with and that claim by claim method works both in the public system and the private system. So and also generating a lot of claims is important for getting into coding and coverage with specific codes and coverage. So we'll work with that in parallel. So during 2023, you can expect to see us apply for a PLA code. And during 24, we expect to be included in the Medicare system coverage, which is important because our goal that we have set out is that we should be able to realize 15% of the market potential 3 years after launch of product. So that's why these milestones are important.
So the market should be fairly open by 24, and 24 is a bit away. So during 23, you can get the impression that not much will happen in terms of sales, but that's not part of
the market will be open directly when we launch it. We will go by claim, and as you're touching, some of them will be paid directly, and some of them will be open. That's the way it works. So you will be able to follow the sales both in terms of revenue, but also in terms of open claims, because that's important that you get the utilization and usage up, because that will enable you to a quicker path into the reimbursement coverage.
So during 23, in your presentations and your updates, you will be able to present sort of volume being placed and open claims and of course revenues.
Yeah, you should be able to. We will be transparent and communicate volumes, revenues, but also contracts that we are making with major cancer centers. We will appear on that as well if possible. Yes.
And the time running up to the FDA approval, you have a lot of support from different studies, the SWOG studies, collaborations, and you also been successful in establishing collaborations with the pharmas as well. Presumably this will give sort of an connections for placements and open labels and contacts with specialists and centers.
Yes, that's part of our sales strategy, of course. In US, you have what's called the NCI designated cancer centers. So those are 71, like the number, the first tier of cancer centers, you can say, that others tend to follow. And when we have assessed our relationships from our collaboration and clinical trials, we have a majority of those we have relationships with. So it's natural we will seek to build on those relationships to create sales in those, which will be drivers for sales on the entire market. So yes, that's part of the strategy to use the relationships we already established.
So when the sales teams is in place, perhaps early 23, this is the target group.
That is the target group, but we have other that we have also identified. We have invested in market analysis and statistics. We are pretty certain on which are the biggest prescribers of CDK4/6 inhibitors, for instance. And those will, of course, have the greatest benefit with our assay. So we will target those as well. So there's not only these cancer centers, and sometimes they overlap. So, but yeah, so we have invested because we will of course have initially a small sales team. So we want to be effective. So we have established an intelligent way of working. Yeah.
So the final question could be when that door opens and when you have your lab certified, and how long after we can expect sales teams to be foot on the ground?
We have said that we should launch a product before end of year, so you can expect that we meet that deadline. And in order to do that, we need to have the CLIA lab certification, and we're certain that we will be able to make that as well, as the lab is now completed. We have the quality systems in place, we have the staff in place, so it's just weeks before we can submit the application, and it's a much more straightforward process than the 510(k) application. So we look. I think it looks very good on the CLIA lab side as well.
So plenty of action to look forward to.
Yeah,
23 and 24.
Yeah, it's been intensive up to now, but this is, of course, from now on we need to accelerate and build on this opportunity that we created for ourselves.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.